Okay, so now what I want to talk about is the paint bucket tool. That's the, one-step click and fill thing that I was mentioning in my handouts and all that stuff. All right, most people use the paint bucket tool. They just kind of go and click on an area and done, fills it. But they have no idea where or how this thing is working. All right, they just think if you make a selection and you fill with foreground color and Bob's your uncle and everything's done. It's not the way it works. If you take a look at the options panel across the top, you'll notice that there's a lot of features that are very, very similar to the magic wand tool. And I'm telling you right now, it is the magic wand tool, but it's got a couple of extra things that are really, really cool. All right, across the top, you can, select all layers if you want, same as the magic wand tool, contiguous, same thing, anti-alias, blah, blah, blah. Tolerance 32, gee, there's a clue. All right, and then over on this side here, we could fill with the foreground color. Foreground color right now happens to be black. I can choose to fill with a pattern if I wanted to. Okay, and if you had some patterns, already saved up inside Photoshop, you could choose them and have a party and all that kind of stuff. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just explain to you that you have these blending modes here that are available to you, and I'll ask you guys to experiment on your own with this. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the road here with some black. All right. And I want to make this image stand out a little more. It's a little flat looking, so I want to increase the contrast. I want to increase the vibrancy a little bit, and I want that road to be a little bit darker. All right. So I guess there's a number of ways and things that we could possibly do to get that to happen. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of my background layer. All right, so I'm just going to drag this down to the new layer icon, and there is my duplicate. That, in case I do something I don't like, I can just, throw it in a trash can. All right, so now with the tolerance values and everything set this way, the paint bucket tool, blah, 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 what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to click. First of all, I'm going to turn off contiguous, and I'm going to click right there. And you can see where I went and grabbed a lot of other dark stuff throughout the document. Not necessarily what I'm looking for. Command Z to undo and click on the contiguous, and I'm going to try and click in the same spot I did. There you go. It's a beautiful thing. All right, here we go. Got the road area that I'm interested in selected, just not 100% what I was looking for. So I'm going to undo that for a second. And then I'm going to come in here to the opacity, and I'm just going to reduce the opacity to 50%. And I'm going to try to click in the same spot, and you can sit there and go, well, it's not a bad thing. What I'm doing is I'm kind of just overlaying 50% gray on top of what I currently had there. It's not the best way, as far as I'm concerned, to apply this new asphalt to my image. So what I'm going to do is undo, Command Z to undo that. I want to put my opacity of this tool back up to 100%. So I'm just going to grab the scrubby slider here and just drag over to get it to be 100%. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to fill this with 100% black, and I'm going to click on there to get that beautiful selection. Now, what I could theoretically do is I could have selected this, made a selection, and then just, oh, never mind, it doesn't matter. There's 100 things you can do with this kind of thing. What I'm going to do is I want to start to see some of the stuff come through here. And if I come over here, and if I go over here and grab my Move tool, I can hit the number 5 on my keyboard, and that'll change the opacity of this layer to 50%. Now, this right here is 50% gray. It's the same thing as if I had done with the paint bucket tool and filled it with 50%. I'm really not getting what I'm looking for, but I'm thinking if I change my blend mode from normal to overlay, I now have more density, or saturation I should say, in my hillside, and I'm able to see through, all right, the shadows being cast on here and get something a little bit better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this layer off, and this is what we started with, and this is what I've ended up with, and I think this is much, much better than going around and doing all those other silly little things. The more you learn about Photoshop, the more options you have, and we just keep having more fun and more fun and more fun. Again, I'm just going to turn this off so you can see what's going on, and then I got that turned on, and I've chosen the overlay blend mode at 50%. If I think the overlay blend mode is a little too strong at 50%, I can try soft light. And soft light's not too bad either. You can see how soft light does a nice job. So either one, doesn't matter, whatever, it's a personal taste thing. Whichever one seems to give you what you're looking for, go for it. I think I'm going to go for the soft light this time. All right, so this is going to wrap up everything that we deal with selections. All right, there's still more ways to go about making a selection or isolating an object and all that kind of stuff, but man, that is just too much right now. All right, I don't want to say that you're not smart enough to grasp it and all that kind of stuff. There's only so much we can cover off, and I think I've done a good job of covering off all of the selection tools that are available to us in Photoshop. All right, have fun, enjoy, play around with these things. You've got the images that I'm using in the videos and in the PDFs. Have at it, and then I want you to experiment with your own stuff and have a great time. All right, thanks a lot. Happy selections.